Hello, a very good morning to you all on this, what's hoping to be a very warm and sunny week. It's a little overcast at the moment, but I'm sure the weather is going to improve as we go along. I'm going to be making some little flower connectors with you today. So I'm using some beautiful little splash beads. They're really pretty, lovely colours. And we also have a mixed offer for you as well, so you can create a bit of a mix and match. I think I'm going to demo with those today. I'm just laying them out on my table because I've noticed I've got some of the links facing backwards. So before I take you down on the mat, I will fix them so you can see how they look. So I'm going to be making little double connectors with those. They are really straightforward to make. They do use a little bit of wire. I'm using a 0.6, which is a 22 gauge wire today. We're going to be using some of the beads and then some jump rings to create little Mobius or Mobius flowers. So it will, I'll show you. It will look something like this. Now this colourway, which is the teal, is already out of stock because I think we were due to do this quite some time ago now, and then for other reasons it just got delayed a little bit. But if you definitely want this teal, then we have put a mix pack in there for you as well, so you can pick those out. So that's essentially how they look. Of course, because they're double connectors, you can make them as a necklace, as I'm going to do today, and your kit today should make 3 necklaces. But you could also make them, if you wanted, as little earrings. If I just hold that there, you could make them as connected earrings. You could also put them in links on a bracelet. There's lots of things that you can do with them. So I'm going to say good morning to you before I take you over to the website. Good morning to Edward, I hope you're well. Good morning to Rachel in a cloudy Barrow. Mina's in a sunny Leicester. Good morning to Jackie. Hello to Heather. Jan's in as well. She says she's having a glorious sunny Sudbury at the moment. Coventry is also very beautiful and sunny according to Joanne. Camille's in. She says it's bright, cool day in Lynham, and hope everyone in the group is doing well. And good morning to Jean, who's all the way in Chicago. So thank you for joining me, and a happy Monday to you. So over we go to our website. Hi Celine, she's in a sunny Bolton. Nice to be able to join. She says, usually at work, but I've got a few days off. I hope, Celia, you're going to be having a lovely time off, relaxing, getting to enjoy the sunshine, maybe do a bit of gardening, and most importantly, get making. So hopefully you've got some nice projects. Hope there's not too much feedback and you can hear me okay and the picture quality is all right. So over we go to totallybeads.co.uk. Hi Anne, how are you doing? You can see this is our wonderful website. Head into the video tutorial categories and you will see today is Noelani floral necklace. Now I called it Noelani, I can't remember, but I'm pretty sure it's Hawaiian for like flower garland. I may have just got that completely confused with something else that I named, but I think that's why I called it Noelani. So you can see we're making these lovely connectors. Now we've got the grey available, a lilac, a mulberry, and a peach. The peach is gorgeous. They're all gorgeous. They look beautiful together, these tones, if you did want to mix them. Each kit is going to make you 3 necklaces up. They're £8.99 for each kit, and we also have a 2 for 15 on. So if you think I really want to put the peach with the grey, then you can get those 2 colours, or if you think I really adore the mulberry and you want to get 2 of those, then you can do for £15 today. So these are your kits on the website. There isn't a picture on here, but if I show you what that looks like for the mixed, it's this. So you can see a mix of all sorts of the oriental splash beads, which are 6mm in size. So you're going to get the mulberry in there, you're going to get like the lilac, the grey, the peach, the teal, and there's even a yellow in there as well, and a gold. So there's some lovely kind of mixes for you. I'm using them all on the same colourway in terms of your beautiful chain. This is one of the reasons why we were waiting, because I wanted to get this chain back in stock because it's absolutely gorgeous. So your jump rings and your chain and your spacer beads, which fill the center of the flower, are all going to be in gold. So I'll go through the measurements with you there. So 3 necklaces. This is what we're using to make up one. I've used 7 of the floral connectors. Of course, you could make much longer if you wanted to add more of those in. You could just include one into a little bracelet. You could do whatever you wanted. So you're going to get the Oriental Splash round beads. You're going to get a round spacer bead, which will be in gold. You're going to get your copper wire, which is plated, and that is a 0.6mm wire or 22 gauges. If you work in gauge, then it's 22 gauge wire. You're going to get your jump rings, which are 6x1 outer diameter. So I think that's a 4x1 inner diameter. You're going to get your chain, and you're going to get a lobster clasp, which is 12mm in size for your lobster clasp. So these are all your components. You can see I'm using the champagne plated curve oval chain, which is 4x6. It's beautiful. I'll show you that close up. It's got little etchings on it as well, and it's just very, very pretty. Looks gorgeous with these. You're getting your copper wire, which is coated in champagne as well. So all of your findings are champagne for this, which just brings out the beautiful splash on these Oriental splash beads. So they are coloured, and then they have like a gold and sometimes like grey. They look like they've been dribbled, like paint's just been dribbled over them or splashed onto them. They're really pretty. So all your findings are going to be champagne colourway. You don't need that much to make these lovely necklaces, or rather these flower links. You can do whatever you want with them. So that is a close-up of the grey in the champagne, which looks absolutely beautiful, if I do say so myself. All of your necklace kits are going to have exactly the same components in. The only thing that will change colour will be the Oriental Splash beads. This is the lilac. So you can see I'm just making little flowers with those and a double connecting loop. Really straightforward to do with the wire. There's no weaving involved in this. It's just shaping the wire and then making some little wrap loops to make them extra strong. And then using a little, I never know if it's Mobius or Mobius. I don't know where the kind of don't know where the placement of the I sound is, but a little link, which is also made of just the jump rings, and you don't need many to make those either. And then that's just going to echo that kind of little floral kind of motif running through it. So that one there is your lilac, £8.99. Your mixed one, which I've showed you, which is all the same, it's just the mix of the beads. If you don't want to choose and you want to mix colour, I'll probably demo, I'll do some mixed colours today so you can see how that looks. And of course you could always multi-buy, and you could add different flowers into your necklace or your bracelet if you wanted to as well. This one is the mulberry, and it's very, very pretty. Again, if you want to have a look at the colour in a bit more detail, you can extra beads or any extra components, you can just click and add those into your basket as well. So they're 6mm rounds. I'm using 6mm rounds spacer beads. I'm going to use 6 inches of the 0.6 wire for each of the flower components. I'm going to use a 6x1 jump ring. That is your magic number today. Apart from your chain, you can add as much of your chain in as you want to make these longer or shorter in terms of the necklaces. And that one is your mulberry. And then we also have the peach, which I think Camille's going to be loving, and I'm really, really loving. So you can see these are your little flowers. And these are how your beads look. So I'll show you them down on the mat. You can have a little look. They're £8.99 for each kit to make 3 necklaces. You'll probably have some left over as well, to be honest, if you want to make a little bracelet with them, or earring connectors, or whatever you fancy. And we've got 2 kits for £15 on as well. So let me stop sharing that one and head back into the comments just in case I've missed any questions. Oh, hello to everybody. Thank you so much for joining me. So I said hello to Jean, I think. Did I say hello to Jean? She's in Chicago. Celia I did say hello to. She was in Bolton and popped in. Gabrielle's in all the way from Ireland. Thank you for joining me. Hello to Melissa. Oh, that's a pretty name. Who's in New York, and it's 3 minutes past 5 in the morning. Hello to Izzy in Scotland. How are you doing? Izzy, thank you so much for your comments. It was lovely to have a little chat to you the other day. Good morning to Anastasia, who's in Atlanta, Georgia. Good morning to Kath. Mina's ordered the mixed colour kit. I know you've been waiting for this, Mina. She says, what size necklace are you making, please? Entirely up to you, Mina. Just depends on how much chain you want to add in. So I've put 30 centimetres of chain in per necklace. You can add more links, less links, do whatever you want. You can customise this for you. Camille says she's got a few of these in her stash and they're very pretty, so you can make along with me live right now, right here, Camille. Good morning to Carol. Mina says she thinks she might have some in the stash, but she needs to sort them out. And Camille is loving the peach. So these are them on the mat. So this is the grey. I'm going to have to move them, aren't I? Sat there fiddling about with them at the beginning, but I'm going to need a bit of focus. So they're your grey oriental splash beads with the little mabias in between. Really, really pretty and really straightforward to just link them on. Because I've done those wrap loops, they are nice and sturdy. And then I'm just going to attach them on to a little jump ring onto the chain. This is your chain. Nope, too much going on the mat. This is your chain. There you go. Can you see how that's etched? And a really nice size, quite chunky, but doesn't attract away from your beads. This is the peach colourway, which are beautiful. So if I get them really close, you can see they are splashed with colour. And then they have little bits of kind of like a champagne and a bronzy gold on them. Really, really gorgeous. So they're the peach. I will pop them down on the floor, I think. This is your mulberry, so a deeper purple colour. And then this one, which is your lilac. So if I hold them together, you'll see the difference in them. But they look beautiful mixed. So you could, if you're getting your 2 for 1, I think the grey and the lilac would look beautiful. I think the grey and the peach would look delightful together. They've got like a lovely silver tone to them. You could mix whatever colours you wanted. I haven't got any of the yellows which come in the mix bag. I do have some of the teals which will be in your mix bag. So you could pick them out to do that. I think the peach and the teal would look particularly lovely together. Or you could really jazz it up and you could make something like this, which has got different beads in. So if you were getting the mix, you could make a mixed one. Or of course, if you wanted to multi-buy on the kits and use that offer, you could mix into your flower, or you could mix your flowers, whichever way you want. If that makes sense, you could kind of mix your petals up, or you could mix up your flowers. Heather says, oh, I like the teal. Unfortunately, the teal is out of stock, but there is the mixed available and you can get the teal, I think, in that colourway. So, hello to Elaine. How are you doing? Heather's liking the grey as well. Thank you, Mina. She says these look amazing. So really straightforward. I'm going to take my 0.6 wire, which is 22 gauge. It is copper, so it's lovely and soft. It would be classed as dead soft. So really malleable, really easy to shape and work with. Strong because it is a 0.6. It's not too fine like a weave-in wire. Really good for turning your loops with this. But at the same time, it's not too thick and bulky. If you were going to make something sturdier, maybe with like an 18 gauge 1mm wire, then it would be a bit more difficult to kind of turn those loops with them. So I'm going to take 6 inches of that wire, for one of my flowers. So I'm just going to measure that against my ruler. In terms of tools, all I'm going to be using today is my wire cutters. Flush cutters, I'm going to be using my bail step pliers. You can use round nose instead. I like using the bail step pliers because it's going to ensure that my loops are exactly the same size on each of my flowers. So to start off, I'm going to pick out 6 of my beads. I'm going to do a mix in terms of the colour. So I think I'm going to use some of the peach. I'll use 2 of 3 colours because I'm going to add on 6 beads. I'm going to add 2 of the mulberry and I'm going to add 2 of the teal. So I need 6 beads in total. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to slide them onto the wire. So I'm going to go peach, teal, mulberry, peach, teal, and mulberry. So I'm going to slide these onto my wire, any 6 beads, and I'm going to make a little loop with that. So I'm going to bring that round and kind of shape it. I only need a small tail end here. So I'm just going to position my beads so they make a nice little loop. You can add more or less on, but because I'm going to make a kind of floral shape, I'm going to want to have an even amount of beads on each side. So I'm just going to make it into a little loop. And then I'm going to secure that loop by taking my small tail end. You can bend up the longer one if it's easier. And I'm just going to wrap that round the long tail end here. So I'm just going to wrap that round twice. Use your chain nose pliers if you want to, just to tighten that loop. So if you can, there you go. So you can see that little loop. I'm just going to tighten that up with my pliers, and I'm just going to wrap that round twice. And then going to cut off that little tail end. I've not measured it in terms of which is the smaller side, but you only need a small tail. And then I'm going to make sure I pinch in the end so we've got no scratchy bits. And then I'm going to pull that up so it's central. So it's looking like this. So 2 wraps to secure will do. I'm then going to take my bail step pliers. I'm going to make a wrapped loop. So I'm positioning my round nose or my bail step pliers so my wire is in the centre of the 2 positions there, 2 jaws I suppose on the pliers. I'm going to bend it over horizontally and reposition. So the size of my loop I would like would be the second smallest on the bail step, but you can use your round nose as well. You can even mark with a pen if you want to on your round nose pliers to make sure that it's perfectly the same size. Each time you turn it, it doesn't really matter. I'm going to reposition my hand, so I'm going to swap over to my my less dominant hand, while I bring that wire all the way round. So I've created that little loop here, and then I'm going to wrap it. So I'm going to take my pliers, take the end of that wire here, and I'm just going to bring that round twice, just to fill the space in between the loop and those wraps at the bottom. So just doing little half turns, like so. And then I'm going to make sure that that loop is central on the top, and you can squish down with your pliers if you need to neaten that up. Struggling to get focus today, I think, if I'm too close or too far away. So I've just made a little wrap loop like this. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that tail end, you can straighten it up again if need be, and I'm going to bring it down the centre. And this is why we need an even amount of beads. So it's coming down the back, this is going to be the back, and it's going to be positioned. So I've got 3 beads on one side and 3 beads on the other. I'm then going to take my champagne spacer bead, which is also 6mm in size. And I'm going to slide that on to that wire so it sits in the middle, and that's going to act as my kind of centre of my flower. So this will be the front. So I'm going to take this tail end and I'm going to wrap it around between these two beads here. So I'm just positioning that bead in the centre with my finger and my thumb. The wire is nice and soft, so all I'm going to do is just start to loop it. Come on, camera. Loop it around there. If you need to get a little bit of purchase, just take the end and pull it nice and tight, and then that will have locked my bead in place. So it's like this from the back. You can straighten it up if need be, but you don't have to be too particular with this. So that's it from the back. You'll be able to see that wire running along, and from the front it's pretty much hidden. If you have bent this at all, just take your nylon coated pliers or whatever you use, you can use your finger, and just straighten it out. It doesn't have to be perfect, but we want it straight. I always straighten my wire out whatever I'm doing because I think it just makes it easier to work with. And now I'm going to turn another loop on this side. So I'm going to take my bail step pliers again, or my round nose pliers. I'm going to bend it over because I want my loops to face the same direction. It's a bit better, isn't it, in terms of angle. Reposition, so now my jaws of my plier are above and below the wire. And bring that round. I've got the different size there. I want the same size, so I'm going to use that way. So I'm bringing it round, the jaws of my plier, repositioning my hand to bring it all the way under. So if I take it off, I'm making that little shape. We can centre it up a little bit better later. Yes, of course, Mina, you could make flowers, earrings, that's absolutely fine. They're going to be double connectors, so you could add your ear wire onto one loop, and you could add another bead, maybe on a ball pin or some chain tassels. You could, if you wanted, add this chain onto the bottom. It might be a little heavier and a little thicker, but yeah, you could do absolutely. These are just connectors. I've made them into a necklace, but you can make them into whatever you want. So I'm just going to straighten up that loop so it's sitting nice and directly on top of my flower. And because I've got 4 wraps here, I'd like to have 4 wraps there as well to fill that space. You can do more wraps if you want, really doesn't matter. I just like to have them fairly even. So taking it round the front and then taking it round the back, little half turns, taking it round the front, taking it round the back. We're just going to fill that space between the loop and the beads. Again, if you need to reposition, just put your round nose or your bail step pliers back in and just give it a little tweak if you need to. And I'm going to come and cut off that little tail end at the back, making sure it's just that excess wire that I'm cutting off. And then coming in with my chain nose or my tweeze nose pliers just to tuck that wire in so we don't have any scratchy bits, and reposition the loops if needed. You can be really pedantic if you want to, and you can just push down to tighten up the loops on the wrap if need be, and just make sure that your loops are sitting on the top. There we go. And I want to make 7 of these for this necklace. I tend to use an odd number so you've got a central in the middle. So if I take this one as an example, should have just picked up any, shouldn't I? Went for the peach one. They're all tangled up now. Right, okay, I'll use this one instead. That's fine. So I've got them here. And I do like to use 7, so I've got a central kind of position. So when I'm wearing it, I've got 1 flower hanging in the middle. But you can add as many of these on as you want. You're going to have enough to make 3 necklaces, so you're going to have more than enough to add on more or add on less. You probably have some left over as well. So I'm just going to make 7 of those. I'll carry on with the mix, and then I won't make all 7 today because I have done some already, but we'll have a little look. So we'll make another one just so you can see how quick and easy they are. I'm taking my wire off the reel. I'm straightening it out first. I keep it on the reel rather. When I say I'm just opening it up off the reel, but I'm keeping it on the reel just so I've got that tension as I pull that straight, and then it'll get rid of any kinks that I've got. I'm going to cut 6 inches of the wire. I think that will be enough for 1 flower. And then that's all the measuring that you need really. So I'm going to take my beads, whatever colour that you're going for. I'm going to go for the mix again. So I use 2 teal, 2 peach and 2 mulberry. So 6 beads on 6 inches of wire, and then another 6mm bead for the centre. I've got a little bit of a delay, hopefully everything's okay there. So again, add on your beads in the order that you would like. If you're going to go for one colour, then you don't have to worry about the order in which you're putting them on. You just slide on 6 beads to the wire. I'm going to kind of repeat the pattern that I put on last time. So I'm adding 6 beads onto 6 inches of 0.6 wire of 26 gauge. And I'm just going to shape that into a loop. So you can do it whichever way you want. Just going to bring the end up. I only want a short tail end on one side, just enough to wrap. And I'm going to just give it a little squish. Oh, it's getting shot now. I'm just going to give it a little squish between my fingers just to make that circular. So I've literally taken the wire, smaller tail end on one, bringing it round, and just shape it with my fingers so it's fairly circular. I'm going to take that smaller tail end. You can, if you want, position that upright, the longer one, just so you've got something to wrap on with. Again, I'm not using my fingers really here. I'm not using my tools, just using my fingers because it's nice and soft. And then bringing that one round once and twice. Use your tools if you want to use your tools. That's what they're there for, just to tighten that loop. Make sure your wraps are nice and close together, so you can use your tools to just compress that down. And I'm just wrapping twice around, so it looks like this. And I'm going to trim off the excess wire. Keep hold of that little bit as you cut so it doesn't ping away. And then just tuck in to the loop. Make sure there's no sharp edges. And then bring that wire up so it's kind of vertical. And you've got that little round shape. Again, I'm going to make a wrap loop on each side so I can add that double connector. So because I'm bending over the top of my pliers, that leaves a little space between the wrap and the bend. If I was to bend really, really close, I wouldn't have space to fill. So I know that my small part on my bail stack pliers, or the small part of my round nose, is going to be just enough space. So when I make that loop, by bringing it round, all the way round, I'm going to fill the space between the loop and the wrap. So I tend to lift this up slightly, and then when I bring that first one round, it's going to be nice and close to the loop. And I want to bring that round another twice to fill the space. Sometimes you might want to do 3. I just like to have them on the same on each side. You want to make sure that the wraps aren't overlapping, but that they're nice and close together. And then I'm just going to bring that wire back down with my fingers, but if you want to, you can manipulate it and put a little bend in it with your tools, but I don't think you need to. And I'm going to keep this wire running nice and straight through the middle, through the back. I'm going to add on my 6mm bead, which is going to be the center of my flower. So this is the back of it at the moment. And I'm going to bring that wire round just to hook. So it's hooking between the beads, so in between that flower shape in the center. So 3 beads on one side and 3 on the other. I'm really sorry about my lack of focus and central shot today. I will amend that. So you can just see I'm just catching that wire there, and then I'm pulling it nice and taut. So I've got all this to work with now, making that wrap, and it's keeping that shape. Again, if you really want to, you can give it a little pinch just to adjust. I'm going to just pinch down those wraps as well, just to close up any space between it. And then I'm going to make my other bail step plier loop on this side. So bending over, we'll make sure that my loops end up facing the same way. Over the top, readjust, swap hands just so I've got better purchase. And then however many wraps I did on one side, I'm going to do on the other. So I start with 2 and then I do another 2 usually. So there's 4 on each. I think I actually did 5. So we'll see if I've got enough wire. Doesn't matter, it's just enough to fill the space. It'll still look balanced and still look fairly even. And I'm just doing little half turns with my pliers around the front, bringing it round the back. Just to fill that space in. Going to trim off any excess wire, making sure I'm not cutting the loop, just cutting that little tail end, and I'm tucking in to make sure there are no scratchy bits. Pop the bail step pliers or your round nose back in if need be, just to make sure that those loops, you can see that one's gone a little bit to the side, just to straighten it up. And I'm going to make 7 of those. Hello to Angel Rose, how are you doing? I'm good, thank you very much for asking. Camille says that peach bead looks bigger than the others. I think it's because it's not fully round on that side, but they're all 6mm in size. So you're going to make your beads, so you have 7 flower connectors. I will add in a couple more. So I think I'm going to go for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I think I'm going to add them like that. And now all I'm going to do is join them together. So I quite liked obviously linking them together with the jump rings, because I've got those double connectors on them now, so I can add them in whatever way, shape or form that I like. But I thought what we could do is we could use the 6x1 outer diameter jump rings, and we could make little Mabias flowers with them, so it would echo that shape. So that's what I'm making for that now. And all I'm going to need to do that is take 4 of my jump rings. Let's move these up out of the way. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm going to take 2 pairs of pliers. So I'd suggest chain nose pliers. You can use flat nose pliers as long as they're flat on the inside, so they're not going to catch on anything. And I'm just going to open up 3 of my jump rings. So to open it, I'm just going to give it a little twist towards me. Just open it up a little bit. And then I'm going to have one perfectly closed. So although this looks closed, you'll see if my camera plays ball that it's slightly staggered and not fully aligned. So I'm just going to give that tiny little twist just to close that up. So I'm taking one closed jump ring and I'm going to take one of the open jump rings and I'm just going to slide that on to the closed one and then close that up. And then you'll see I can push them together, hold them close, and you create a little circle in the middle, which I think is referred to as the eye. And I'm just going to take my other open jump ring and I'm going to pop that right through the middle of them both and then close that over. And then again, push them together. If you're struggling to get it, what I tend to do is I just tend to drop it on the table and give it a little flip. And then I'm going to take my fourth jump ring and I'm going to slide that through the middle of all of them and then close that over. So you can make Mobius or Mobius links with numerous amount of jump rings, but I think this gives the nice little look that I'm going for, and it's kind of squished together, creates that little flower. Hello Phoenix Creations, how are you doing? Thank you very much, Angel Roses, that's very pretty. So I'm going to make those to go in the middle before I connect them onto each other. So again, I'm going to take 4 jump rings. I'm going to give them a little twist open. So I'm going to open 3. And I'm going to close 1. And the closed one is what I'm going to start with. So I've just got those 2 edges nicely aligned. I'm going to pick up 1. Don't know how I've managed to balance that jump ring facing upwards there, but there you go. I'm like some sort of magician. Hear that click so you know it's fully closed. We want to make sure our jump rings are closed nicely. We don't want them to be able to catch on anything. You can put it through the front or the back, whichever way is easiest for you to work with. I don't usually do it on my fingers like this, but I'm trying to hold it up to the camera so you can see what I'm doing. Just flip your jump ring if need be so they link like a little rose, and then put your 4th one through the center of them all so they're all linked together, and then reposition if need be to make that little flower link. And then I'm just going to join them together when I've made those, really straightforward. So you can see I've got my flowers and my Mobius link. I'm going to attach another 2 jump rings through the Mobius flower and then directly onto the connectors on my flowers. So I'm going to lay out in the order that I would like to have my flowers. I'm going to take out some more of my jump rings. These will be champagne in colour as well, so they're going to go nicely with the wire and the chain. I'm just going to give it a little wiggle to make sure it will line up nice and closed. I'm going to pick up my first little flower and I'm going to get it into shape that I want. So flip it and twist it as you need. So they should just sit on top of each other. And then I'm going to take a jump ring and put it through the middle. And then I'm going to take one of my flower connectors and put it through the loop and then close that up. I mean, that would be really pretty as it is, just on like a little earring. If you want to put an ear wire at the top. You won't get ear wires in your kit today because I've done it as necklaces, but you could make it as a bracelet. And there you go, just read Mina's mind. She says, oh, these would make beautiful bracelets. I have made bracelets with these before. Not for a live, just for kicks. So I'm popping another 6mm jump ring through the Mobius and my next flower. I am being mindful because there is a front and a back to my flowers, so you can see the back's got the wire that runs along it, whereas from the front you can't see that because it's covered by the loop and the beads. So I'm then just going to place that one on and close that over. And then that is essentially how I'm going to link them together. Same again, take another one of my flowers, flip it so it's sitting in the right direction. Give it a little squish if you want between your finger and your thumb. Open up your jump ring by giving it a twist towards you or away from you. We never open out, we don't want to distort the shape of our lovely jump rings, and these are beautiful to work with and really nice and sturdy, so it's going to make your jewellery nice and secure. I'm going to take that jump ring that I've opened and I'm sliding it through the hole or the links in the centre. So it's not going through the jump, just one of the jump rings. It's, if I can turn it that way, you can see. I need to move my camera. I'm working closer than I'm used to. So it's just hooking through the centre there. I'm going to attach that on to my flowers and closing that over. Taking another of my jump rings. Just open these out really. So if you've got 7 flowers, you'll need 6 of your Mobius links. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So again, 6 is the magic number, I think, for today's make. If you're not sure, go for 6 and hope for the best. The only thing I've done extra is the flowers themselves, and I've done 7 of those just so I've got that centre point. So I'm going to take my next flower and link that together. So, I mean, you could make these as a bracelet if you wanted to. You could put it like so. You could attach little beads on in between. You could do whatever you want with them. But you can see it takes shape really quite quickly, really straightforward. I'll add a couple more on and then I'll show you how to attach the chain. So I'm going to take my jump ring. Does anybody need me to go through anything again? Are you all quite, you can always watch the video back again, but hopefully, I mean, we've done the Mobius rings before. We've done tutorials just on those as well. So I'm using 4 rings for my Mobius flower and I'm attaching it on with another. Hooking another jump ring right through the centre of that flower there before I take my beaded connecting flower and attach that on. And then again, just making sure I've got my, let's say, sometimes if you just drop it, it falls right into that nice little knot. Hooking through the centre. Closing over. Opening up through the centre. Have I caught that one? Just checking that flower's in position. That's better. So I would link them all together with however many that I was after. I'll leave it like that for now, but I'll probably add on an extra 2. So you'd like 7. And then when you're happy with what you have, as long as it's an odd number, I think for a necklace, it just hangs that little bit better. You're going to take your chain. So for this length, I've decided that I'm going to use 30 centimeters of the chain. And of course, I'm going to want that to be even. So 15 centimeters on each side. 30 centimeters is 12 inches if anybody works in inches and they want to know how much chain am I getting for each necklace. But of course, you can adjust that to whatever length that you want. I will add some extra flowers into this so it's a better length for me. If I'm going to line up my chain, sometimes what I do is I take a little piece of scrap wire or whatever thread and I put my last 2 links through the top of them just so I can bend it in half and find the centre. So that will give me my centre link. Don't need to have those together now. It's hard for me to hold up to camera, but if I have hold that centre link, then they should be perfectly even. You can, of course, measure out if you want to, but you want it to be balanced, so just the same on each side. Now, this is not soldered, the chain. There are little openings to it. So again, you can just open that up like a jump ring. And now I should have 2 even lengths of my chain. Rachel says, very pretty colours. Thank you, Natalie. You're welcome. Izzy says, you're so clever. They're beautiful. Kath says, very pretty. Thank you very much. I've had a lot of fun making them. I've been wanting to make them for a while now. So all I'm going to need to do is, again, take more of my jump rings. I'm just going to use the same size jump rings because it's just easier, because I think they work nice as a clasp. So I'm going to need another 4 jump rings, and I'm going to need my clasp. And all I'm going to do to attach it on is take my lobster clasp, open up my jump rings as before. So again, give it a little turn towards you. Sometimes I open it and close it first, just to make sure. Sorry, my computer's having a moment. Are you there? Yeah, a bit of a delay. Are we still live? So I'm just going to add my last link through to the jump ring. It's going really slow, but I'm already attaching my clasp at the moment. I don't know whether you can see me doing that or whether it's behind a bit. I'm going to pop my clasp onto one side and then the jump ring onto the other length of the chain. And then I'm going to take another 2 jump rings, open one up, and I'm just going to attach that onto the link on the flower that I've made. So my beaded oriental splash flower, and that's going to hook onto the chain there. Thanks, Cam. And close it up, making sure it's perfectly aligned. Don't want any scratchy bits. So the tip is you shouldn't be able to see where the opening of the jump ring is. That's the aim anyway. They will flip around, but don't worry, when you wear them, they'll stay facing forward. Phoenix is saying a computer program issues may be contagious. No, it's just me, I think. I've struggled to be in shot, so I do apologise. Hopefully my verbal instructions has been clear. Opening it up, attaching to the last link of my beaded oriental splash flower and the last link of my beautiful chain. That all comes in your kit, and close it up, and then you have your necklace complete. So it will look something like so, and then all you will need to do is just close it over. So you can change the length of the size that you want by adding more or less flowers in to your necklace, You can change the length of your chain should you want to. I like having it with a chain because I think then these just sit flat on the front. You could, of course, if you wanted, just add in more and more and more and more and more all the way up. I made some in advance, but you could, if I just bring that down there, you could just attach them onto the chain if you didn't want to add in the bias links and just attach them on like that. You could do anything with them. They're really, really sweet. I just think they make really nice connectors in bracelets. They're not too big. I think they'd make lovely little earrings. So if you wanted to make two matching, get a pair of earring hooks, and then I'd probably just dangle a little bead off the bottom on like a little head pin or a ball pin or something like that, and do another little wrap loop to connect. Or if you didn't want to add in them, you could always just add in, you know, a couple of the little spaces. They look really sweet as well. Angel Rose is saying that would make a great Mother's Day gift. Yeah, Mother's Day is coming up in the US fairly soon, isn't it? Is it the 5th of May? We've had ours because we tend to do ours. There's the 4th weekend in Lent. Yeah. So they would make really nice Easter gifts. They would make really nice Mother's Day gifts. They make a nice little treat for yourself. This, of course, is a little bit shorter. You're not going to see it against the flowers of my dress. Let me see if I can just, there you go. We'll sit like so. So yeah, they make lovely, lovely gifts. I think they make lovely gifts for you. Don't forget to treat yourself, and they're perfect for summer. I try to keep things different when it comes to my making, but you know, when it gets to summer, I like to have my flowers. I like spring jewellery. I like a bit of spring bling. Just Me says, darling necklace. Thank you for another great tutorial. You're very welcome. Camille says, very, very pretty. Thank you so much for joining me today. They are, let me just recap for you. So these are the Noelani floral necklaces on our website. I will take you to it if I can. Ooh, I knew you were going to be like this. Let me see. There we go. So they are the Noelani flower necklaces. They are £8.99 to make up 3 necklaces in each of your kits. Or we've got a buy 2 for £15 as well. There's lots of lovely colours you can choose from: the lilac, the grey, the mulberry or the peach. Or if you wanted to get this mixed one here, you can get a little combination of some mixed colours. You can do whatever you like with them, whether you want to do bracelets, necklaces, earrings. They are lovely double connecting components. So check them out on our website. We do ship worldwide if you would like to get your hands on them, and you can always play back the video should you need to at any point. So thank you so much for being with me. I'm going to be back with you on Wednesday. I'm making some lovely, I'm going to do some chainmail with you on Wednesday. So I'm going to be making some bracelets. I'm going to be making a spiral weave with the chainmail, and then I'm going to be adding a double strand of sparkles. Now, I've tried this technique a few times, and I think I've found a way to absolutely crack it. So what that means is when you make a spiral chainmail, you need to have an anchor point on each side, or it unspirals, just how it is. So I've tried it while I've made using tiger tail, and I've done it where I've done 2 different methods. I've used a culotte to attach them, and I've used crimp beads to attach them. and I actually had what I'm going to class as a little bit of brainwave, and I thought, I know what I'm going to try, and it works perfectly every time. It's not faffy, it's not fiddly, it's just good. So hopefully it'll work on Wednesday. If you can come and join me then, it would be lovely to see you. And then we have a couple of bank holidays in May. I think actually, I don't know whether it's because of, well, it's not because of Mother's Day in the US, but if Mother's Day in the US is, of course, on the 5th, then I think that is a bank holiday Monday here as well. So we have a few changes to the schedule. I can't believe we're getting to May already. I'm just checking if I've missed anything. I think you're all just being really nice and very complimentary. Thank you so much, Treelin. That's very kind of you. I'm going to be cheeky and I'm going to share that one. She says, hit that thumbs up and show the host your respect. Thank you, sweetheart. That's very kind of you. I hope you all have a very lovely day, a lovely start to the week. If you are getting the sunshine, I think in the UK we are, make sure you get your sun cream on. And our Mother's Day is the 11th of May. Okay, well, we're going to have some lovely gift ideas for you then, Angel Rose. Thank you so much for being with us, and I will see you this week if you can join me again. Take care, everyone. Bye.